What's up, guys? This is going to be lecture 9. We're going to be going over Revit families. So we're going to go a little bit more in depth into loading families in. We're also going to take our first step into modeling extrusions, which is how you actually create a lot of the things in Revit. That's going to be the first step this week that you'll be going through before we get into actually working with, or before you get into the project for this, not project, this week's milestone, where you'll actually be creating a custom window from scratch. So what we're going to do is we'll jump right into this. I have one thing I want to mention before we do that, though. So a couple people emailed me with questions this week saying, hey, I can't save my project. What was happening there is you had gone here, selected architectural template, and then chosen project template. That's not what you want to do, and what that's going to do is here in the program, um, it's going to prevent you from saving. So right here, all I can do is save as a template or a library. You don't want to do that, so avoid choosing that option when you're, I can just close this out, okay, when you're doing that. So I'm going to go back to new. Again, I'm going to choose architectural template project. I'm just going to throw out a quick building here. Again, it's not important what it's made out of. I'm just trying to get some space down so I can show you what we're working with. So, there goes the ceiling and some other things. Let's get a floor. Okay, so 3D view and tile. Okay, so we have a small space we can work with here now, and so what I wanted to illustrate was a couple different behaviors that you're going to watch out for. What? No, there. Okay. A couple different behaviors you're going to want to watch out for when you do start putting things into your projects. So here I have a small, I'm going to turn my camera off there. So I've got this small little thing, basic empty little corner. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start putting things in here. So if I go to component, up here, architecture, component, I can start placing things in. So what I can do first is I can start placing in directly in the 3D view. Not a huge fan of that. You end up with kind of like weird alignments and things. I'm a much bigger fan of placing things here in the actual floor plan view. Now, understandably, there's issues that come along with that. So kind of think about it a little bit sometimes. Choose the right interface that's good for you to actually place things in with. But I can click here and place it, and that desk pops in immediately, just like if I was to do that here in the 3D view. So if you're going for something that's a little bit more of a looser look, you're not necessarily looking for well-organized spaces. Maybe it's you're putting kind of a free-form flowing set of um, things, decorations around a room. Go for that. Whereas if you're going for a very strict alignment of desks, do that. Alright, so I'm going to do that component. So to actually, and I glossed over this real quickly earlier, to actually load things into your project, you're going to go to component up here, same thing, and then you're going to choose load family. Now I think I previously went over loading in doors and windows. What I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to choose, one of the big issues we have is lighting actually. And so what I'll get is I'll get students coming to me saying, hey, I found this particular light, I'm trying to place it, and it's doing weird things. It's not showing up, it's not letting me do anything. And so you can see right here I'm trying to place it level 1 on the floor plan view, and it's giving me this warning, couldn't find an appropriate host. Well, this light that I got right here is actually a pendant light, and it's designed to actually go on a or a flat surface, sorry, a horizontal surface. So I can place it here, I can place it on the back side of the ceiling, I can also place it here. So some of these things are going to have very specific ways where they will only allow you to place them. In this case, because of the way this light is supposed to hang, I'd probably want to try and place it, oops, I got rid of it, right here through my level 1 view, and it's not even going to let me do that. So in this case, this might be something where I do have to actually physically place this, and thankfully it'll give me a little nice alignment lines for that. So I can place it like that, and then I should be able to, nope, get out of there, nope, go to my level 1 and actually move them around from here. Or, as I discussed earlier, creating a array with which to place them. So I'll get rid of those, go back to 3D view. Let's find a different light and see what other weird things we can come in with. So, let's see. Let's do a wall lamp. That was another one. So someone will have a wall lamp. They thought it looked really nice, but again, they can't place it here in the middle of the room. It's only going to snap to a wall. And in this case, it's actually coming in super low too. I don't know, how high is that? 4 feet? Yeah, it's something I'd probably want a little bit higher. But it's also something that you could, again, place in the 3D view, and it's going to work that way. Usually what we end up having is, later on in the semester, I believe the commercial class starts getting into something, and you guys end up having a bunch of, let's see, this looks like the right one. So again, level 1, it's not letting you place the light. Reflected ceiling plan, not letting you place it there either. But if I go into 3D view, you can place this light, and it's going to be kind of a pain because it's not quite supposed to be that much of a pain to orient. So again, you can rotate this around, do what you need to get it in the right position, and then come back to your top-down view here and change that around. While we're looking at this, I think it's also worth mentioning, it hasn't come up yet this term, but often students want to know, how do I rotate? Like maybe I don't want these ceiling panels this direction right here. So what you do is just deselect everything, and you can do this with floors as well. So anytime you have a wood floor and you want to change the orientation, you can just click on one of the lines there, and then do the rotation tool right here, and that'll just rotate the orientation of those panels. So if I wanted these lights oriented in a just weird way for some reason, I would be able to come in here, and I'd probably have to actually have to kind of shift this one around a little bit. Oops, no. And then of course we would have to place our center of rotation here, but we could get that to fit that way. And then now we have it oriented along with those. Again, same thing works with the ceiling or with floors. It should work with wall tiles, though I've actually never experimented with that. Someone might want to try that. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about for assigning those. Some cases you will run into an issue where you're loading, I want to say it's probably, I don't know, I feel like a TV stand, let's say, and you want this TV stand to be kind of like up off the ground. You can come in here, place it, and then in some cases you'll have the option to bump it up from the ground. Because Revit's content library is not as robust as what we're used to with the SketchUp libraries, I'm totally cool with in certain situations wall-mounted TVs being basically a floor TV bumped up from the ground. What's more important is that you're meeting the requirements for the project and not so much that you found the perfect model to make it work. But again, later in the semester we'll be going over actual custom model creation. So let's get into actually modifying a window. So I'm going to grab this first window here. We'll just work with this first fixed one right here. What I'm going to do first though is I'm going to go to Edit Type. For this, I think what we should do first is just do a simple modification. So right now this window family, right now the widest one I can get is 36 by 48. So let's say I want a 4 foot by 4 foot window, so 48 by 48. It doesn't have that option there, and I'm not even going to try and find it because I'm like 99% sure it doesn't exist. So what I can do is I can click on duplicate here in the type properties for that fixed window family. And I'm going to, again, proper organization, make sure you name everything correctly so it's easier to find. So I'm going to name this 48 by 48. And then this one is, this factual family is super simple. I can just go to the width right here and I can change that to 4 foot. and hit OK. And so now I can go over here, we'll go back and grab the first one I had and place that there. And then here's the second one, which you can already see in there is wider, but here you can also see as wider. Okay? So, very easy for this particular window type to go in there and modify. Next, another thing I can do is I can actually modify the model that's used here. So deselect everything, click on one example of that window, and then I'm going to go into Edit Family. And this is going to open up kind of like a weird 2D view here, but it's actually a 3D view, so you can manipulate it in that way. What I want to do is find a couple of the layers that I want to modify. So in this case, let's just go weird with this one. So I'm going to just for the sake of ease, I'm going to force this back into the 2D snap right there. And you can see that right now we have what looks like, if you're kind of thinking back to not that long ago, this kind of looks like the walls or some other profile that we've edited. And in this case, it's called an extrusion. That's what Revit's going to refer to these as. And so what it has is there's a base plane here in the middle. Actually, where is the base plane on this one? I don't quite see where it is. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in here. What is it? It's right here. That's what these, no. Somewhere around here is the actual kind of center of it. That part's not important. What's important is that you see that these values are here. And what this indicates is that this is an extrusion. It's using kind of this direction. Like if we were looking at a map and that map was flat on a table, anything that came towards us was, I think in this case, minus, and anything that went away from us through that 2D map is plus. And so right here we have an extrusion that starts at -4 inches, so 4 inches off that table, and then 1.5 inches, so it would go down 1.5 inches through the table. It's kind of hard to really illustrate this, so let me just change this value here. So right now it starts at -4. If I change this to -3, we'll actually, oh, is it not going to let me do that? It's not going to let me do that. Let me do this one. So I'll just change this to 1/2 inch. Oh, it's not going to let me do that either because I need to do, boo. Alright, this is probably not the best one to illustrate. So we'll come back and we'll mess around with some extrusions some other time. What is important is we need to edit this section right here. So what I'm going to do is edit extrusion, and like I said, I'm just going to get weird with this one, so we're just going to do that, and then we'll do an offset. So we'll offset this 3/4 of an inch, and then we'll draw something here that kind of joins those in. Like I said, we're just getting weird with this one. But I want to kind of get something that's a little bit unique just to show you guys what's going on with these. So once I'm kind of happy with that, again, I'll come in with the split tool, which I finally remembered to say correctly. And we'll just chop all, oops, that was probably fine. We'll just chop all these extra bits off. Oops. Okay, so once that's done, I've changed the profile of this area. So when I complete this drawing, you can see that it's actually changed the thickness of this layer right here. Now, I can go in and I can do the same thing to this side. I'm not going to for this. And then if I was trying to be proper, what I'd actually do is then come back to this side, and we'll do another offset, and it's not going to let me do those. So I would just kind of try and, in this case, I would try and closely mirror the badness that I did with the other one. And again, if this was your actual project, I would recommend you take a little bit more time than I am to just kind of slap this together. But what I wanted to illustrate specifically here is what you'll see in a moment. So I've done that, and now when I do that, it also changes that secondary layer that's inside of that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do load into project and close, and it's going to ask me if I want to save. In this case, I don't want to save these changes to this family, so I'm going to hit no here. Oh, wait a second. Hold on. I don't want to screw it up now. I want to save changes. No, I don't. Okay, load into project and close, no, and then I do want to overwrite the existing version. So this is going to overwrite this family that I have here, and you can see that now it's got what I had from the original one I modified right here. It's got the same kind of thing going on with this. So you can go in and you can manually modify all these different windows to have kind of more a custom look to them. This is probably a bit weird for what you normally do, but it works if you went for something a little bit more traditional, like just a normal bar across the top or up vertical. It usually looks a lot better. I was just kind of going for the effect here. And then, like we discussed earlier, we can also go in and change the materials here. Now the materials, it should only affect the one I'm changing. So we're going to do, I believe there's a black powder coat. So I'm going to call this black powder coat. I'll go into the material library. Yes. Okay, let's see. I want this. Okay. So we'll load that into that material there. Close that out. Just for the sake of super consistency, I'm going to rename this gray powder coat just because that's what it had. And I can apply that to that material, or apply that material to that model. And then, again, because it only affected that one, I would have to come into this other one and change this as well to gray powder coat. Okay, so let's see, we went over placing families, we went in a little bit into modifying families. Later, I believe next week, we'll be getting in, or for next class, we'll be getting entirely into creating a family from scratch, one that you will then modify and do some cool stuff with. So, oh, there's one other thing. Let's see if I can remember how to do it correctly. So, let's just delete all this. It's going to come up sooner or later, and it happens every term. Someone will want to know how to do a curtain wall, and so while we're kind of on this subject, we can do it now. So, I'll just build a small wall here, and we'll change this wall to curtain wall. There we go. Okay. Come on. I must have missed it. No, actually not a curtain wall. Is it the storefront? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So, these walls look cool. Everyone loves them. Usually what you do is you keep them down to that height, and then you can actually block this space out for your floor above, floor below. What everyone runs into is the first thing they want to do now that they've got this is that they need to put doors in. So how do you do that? So so far I've told everyone stay away from using the curtain wall door, because what happens is you try and load the curtain wall door in here, and then let's see, doors, curtain wall. So you try and load this in, and it gives you this error. It says you can't load that in. So no. Okay. So what you have to do to actually load the curtain wall family in is you have to click on this right here, and then what you have to do is kind of find where the edge is right here, and then you just hit tab and see how my camera's going to keep coming back on for this. So see how this particular box right here, as I hit tab, it cycles through what's available there. But if I hit tab a certain number of times, depends on what you're looking at, it's going to hover up with this blue box right here. So what I need to do is I need to click on this, and then there's this little pin symbol with like a chain, and what you do is you click on that, and then that unlocks that. And so now I can come in here and I can hit delete on that. Oh no, sorry, I don't want to delete that. I want to leave that as is. So let me go back to it. Where is it? No, get off of there. Okay, so I've got this, and what I want to do is I want to change it to that door, but Revit's just a little bit weird on this for some reason. So what you have to do is go to, where is it? I knew I was going to forget some step. Is it insert? Yeah, there we go. Okay, insert load family, and then in this case, oh yeah, let's do double storefront. So I'll do double wall storefront, load it in. Now I didn't have anything else selected, so I wasn't in the doors or anything. I just had everything cleared out. Went into insert, load family, and I got the double wall storefront right here. Now when I go back to the option here, click on it, I can now change this to that double curtain wall storefront right there. Okay, so that's how you would actually put those in this situation. Some other cool things you can do with these is, let's say that you had a higher floor, so go to east west, and we'll set this to 12 foot, and then back to here, and then let's say instead of having 8 foot high, we had 10 foot high. And then I could come in here and choose, let's see, um, where is it? Curtain panels, and we could change this to, where's, oh, I still got the, what was it? Powder coat gray. Oops. Oh, I got them all. Oops. I didn't want to get them all. No, I just want the top ones. Well, anyway, so you can come in and you can actually modify the actual materials that are used in these. By default, if you just kind of click on the wall, you can come in and change things like the mullions that it's using, and it's got a couple different ones. So maybe, for example, you want to change how thick that bar is right there, um, and maybe it's just a really thick um, setup. So you could go in there and do that. You should be able to customize those. I don't generally do that. And then now in this case, because of the changes I made, those are offset a little bit. So then now we'd have to go in and actually modify these, the offset to be, again, I'm going to get it backwards. I always go the wrong way first. So yeah, there we go. So we'll just do 1/4 inch instead. And that way they've kind of adjusted themselves to sit on the right spot. So there are different things you can do with these. Oh, the one other thing before I forget is anytime you put a door in, you need to delete that so that people can actually get through that door. So um, that's going to be everything for this lecture. I will see you guys in class on Tuesday.